Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be spending some time on the EM Test Compact NX7 bsprt-1-400-32 test system. We'll begin the video by going over a little bit about the unit. Then we'll move to the connections on the front and the back of the system. And then finally, we'll go ahead and we'll start up the system and we'll modify some testing criteria. The EM Test Compact NX7 model we're using for today's video is model bsprt-1-400-32. This model provides testing capabilities for burst, surge, power fail, ring wave, telecom surge, and has a built-in coupler capable of handling up to 400 volts, 32 amps single phase. This model has capabilities for the 10x700 Telecom surge waveform in accordance with IEC 61000-4-5 up to 7 kV. The coupling for this test is aligned with ITU FCC Part 68 as well as IEC 61000-4-5 based on the number of wires and impedance. Let's go ahead now. Let's take a little close look at the front of the EM Test Compact NX7. Here's the front of the EM Test Compact NX7. You'll notice this unit is slightly larger than other Compact NX7 units you maybe have seen. That's just because of the telecom capabilities on the bottom as well as the 400 volt CDN. During today's video, we're not going to walk through every connection and button on this test system. However, we have done previous videos on the NX5 and NX7 test platforms, and if you're looking for a little more detailed overview, go ahead and check those out. Let's go ahead now and let's start from the upper left hand corner and let's work our way right. In the upper left hand corner, we have our active LED and our display. Next to that, we have a few different push buttons, including the test on, back, start, pause, and stop. And then we have a knob right there in green that just allows you to change the different parameters. As we continue right, we have our monitoring, trigger, and burst outputs. And then all the way on the right, we have our EUT test supply. Now let's go ahead and look down at the bottom third section of the unit where we have our ports for telecom testing. On the left, we have our T1 to T4 ports, and to the right of that, we have our HV and COM ports, and the COM ports often go to external coupling networks. Let's go ahead now, and let's take a look at the back side of our test system. Here's the back of our EM Test NX7. Starting on the left side of the unit and working our way right, there we have our EUT supply input. As we work our way right towards the center of the unit, we have our HV and COM surge outputs. And then to the right of that, we have our main switch and mains input for our test generator. Next to that, we have a series of BNC outputs. For additional information on those, if you're interested, go ahead and check out the user manual or videos we made previously. Below those, we have our high and low sync inputs. To the right of that, we have our system link in, our system link out, and then finally, all the way on the right side of the unit, we have a series of communication connections, including USB, Ethernet, and Optolink. Alright, that should wrap up the back of the unit. Before we get the unit operational for today's testing, we're going to need to make two connections. Let's go ahead now and let's walk through those briefly. The two connections that need to be made on the back of the unit are the terminator into our system link input and our warning lamp adapter into the system link output. You need to make these two connections for almost all types of testing, including getting the system operational for today's video. Let's go ahead now and let's get the system started up and take a brief look at the display. Alright, here's the starting display on our Compact NX7. And as we mentioned earlier, this system is configured for burst, surge, telecom surge, magnetic field, power fail, and ring wave. Let's go ahead and let's select telecom surge for today's video. Alright, here's our Telecom Surge menu, and you can see we have some of the waveform characteristics in the upper right hand corner. And then just below that, we have a series of different options to select. We're going to go ahead first, and we're going to take a look at the standards. This is just a list of some of the different pre-programmed routines you can select. And you can see we have IEC 61000-4-5 at the top. Following that, we have our ITU-T, K20, K21, and K45. We're not going to run any of the standardized tests today, so let's go ahead and let's select back. And now let's go ahead and let's go to Quick Start. Alright, here's the Quick Start menu, and you can see along the left side we have some of our different testing criteria. And then in the middle, we have our polarity and then our coupling. You can see right now we have HV COM indicated right there. And as we mentioned earlier in the video, that's going to be the output for our Telecom Surge. Alright, that should complete our video today. We began by talking a little bit about our compact NX7 test system. Then we walked through some of the different connections on the front and the back of the unit. And then finally, we looked at the menu on the display and walk through changing some of the different Telecom Surge testing criteria. Please keep us in mind if you ever need to rent any of the EM Test Compact NX7 test generators.